have said they'd like to sing a Peter Bellamy song this evening. Um, Peter, of course, for those who don't know about Peter Bellamy, he was originally sort of came on the scene in the mid-60s as a member of the Young Tradition, along with Heather Wood, who made a huge impact on the folk scene at that time. A few years later, the three of them diverged, their interests diverged, and they went off to pursue their interests in different ways. Peter was particularly keen on the traditional English repertoire, and he was a very fine singer of English traditional songs. Two things for which he's particularly known are his settings of a lot of Rudyard Kipling poems. He set to music and made fine songs out of them, and he's greatly respected in the Kipling Society. And the other thing, of course, was his composition of a folk opera called The Transports, about the transportation of convicts to Australia, a very human story. And that was a huge success and has been revived more than once. So the songs this evening are probably mostly going to be either from The Transports or one of his settings of a Kipling song. They'll be scattered through the evening as people are called. We're not clustering them all together. And of course, one other thing, this year, it's the 30th anniversary of Peter's death. So it seems an appropriate time to celebrate his work and his memory.
Great, thanks very much for that, Chris. I just want to say, I forgot to say that you are very welcome to not sing Bellamy songs. It's open as always. But if you are singing a Bellamy song, then Chris Lamb needs to know about it. So please message him in the chat. Okay, so over to David Jones, followed by Tim Radford.
Well, it's a bit of a shock. I mean, first, I wasn't aware it was an evening for Peter. And I used to sing quite a lot of his songs. So for this one, he was staying at my house here in New Jersey one night, and I played him a Revels record called Blow Ye Winds of the Morning, and this version of the Mermaid was on that record, so he liked the version, so maybe there's a connection there. On Friday morning as we set sail, and being not far from the land, we there spied a mermaid sitting on a rock, with a comb and a glass in his hand. And the song she sang so sweet, no comfort at all could we make, till at last our gallant ship she turned round about, which caused all our poor hearts to ache. Then up and spoke the helmsman of our ship, in his hand a lead and a line, all for to sound the seas, me boys, that run so wide and deep. But no hard rock or sand could he find. Then up and spoke the captain of our ship, and a well-spoken man was he. I have married a wife in fair Portsmouth town, and tonight she a widow will be. And up and spoke that little cabin boy, and a dirty little rat was he. I grieve for my mother in fair Plymouth town, and tonight she will weep for me. Then up and spoke that greasy old cook, and a greasy old cook was he. I care much more for my kettles and my pots than I do for the bottom of the sea. Then 3 times around spun our gallant ship. 3 times around spun ship. 3 times around spun our gallant ship. And she sank to the bottom of the sea. There you go.
Well sung.
I realised I made the mermaid masculine. People didn't notice.
Cracking story, David. Thank you. Okay, Tim Radford's our next singer, and then we will have Elizabeth Block.
Good day, everybody. I too was surprised to be on this early. I expected to have at least a dozen Bellamy songs to sing, but here we go. I'm sure David Bellamy sang a version of the next song I'm going to sing, Adieu to Old England, although this version comes from George Blake of Hampshire. And if I can remember the tune. Oh, once I could ride in a coach, had horses to drag me about, but now I'm confined in a jail so strong, I know not which way to get out. Well, here's adieu to old England, here's adieu. Here's adieu to 10,000, that's more. If the world had been ended whilst I had been young, my sorrows I ne'er should have known. Oh, once I could lie on a bed that was made from the finest of down, but now I am glad of a truss of green grass to keep my head from the cold ground. Here's adieu to old England, here's adieu. Here's adieu to 10,000, that's more. If the world had been ended whilst I had been young, my sorrows I ne'er should have known. Oh, once I could eat of the bread that was made from the finest of wheat, but now I am glad of an only bread crust. I'm glad I can get it to eat. Here's adieu to old England, here's adieu. Here's adieu to 10,000, that's more. If the world had been ended whilst I had been born, my sorrows I ne'er should have known. Oh, once I could drink of that wine that was made from the finest of grapes, but now I am glad with a clear water string, I'm glad I can get it to drink. Here's adieu to old England, here's adieu. Here's adieu to 10,000 or more. If the world had been ended whilst I had been young, my sorrows I ne'er should have known. Adieu to old England.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tim. And adieu to old England. Not yet. We're still, most of us here. Oh no, actually a lot of us aren't. Anyway, I'll shut up now. Our first Bellamy singer of the evening is Elizabeth Block. And after Elizabeth, could we have Pelagie Crofton, please?
I got this from Ian Robb, and it's his version I'm singing, except at one point I did correct him because he was singing something slightly different from what Kipling wrote, and Kipling wrote it better. I do not look to holy saints to guide me on my way, nor to male or female devilkins to lead my feet astray. If these be added, I rejoice. If not, I shall not mind. so long as I have leave and choice to meet my fellow kind. For as we come and as we go, and deadly soon go we, the people, Lord, thy people, are good enough for me. So I will honor pious men whose virtue shines so bright, though none are more amazed than I when I by chance do right. And I will pity foolish men for woes their sins have bred, though 99% of mine I brought on my own head. Yea, am I right, or am I right, or just general averagey? The people, Lord, thy people, are good enough for me. And when they bore me over much, I will not shake mine ears, recalling many thousand such whom I have bored to tears. And when they labor to impress, I will not doubt or scoff, since I myself have done no less, and sometimes pulled it off. For as we are and we are not, and as we pretend to be, the people, Lord, thy people, are good enough for me. And when they work me random wrong, as oftentimes hath been, I will not cherish hate too long, my hands are none too clean. And when they do me random good, I will not feign surprise, no more than those whom I have cheered with wayside courtesies. Yes, as we give and as we take, whate'er our takings be, the people, Lord, thy people, are good enough for me. That deliver me from every pride, the middle, high, and low, that bars me from my sister's side, whatever pride she show, and purge from me all heresy of thought and speech and pen, that bids me judge her otherwise than I am judged. Amen. For as we live and as we die, if utter death there be, the people, Lord, thy people, are good enough for me. That I may sing for crowd and king and road-borne company, that I may labor in my day, vocation and degree, to prove the same by deed and name, and hold unshakenly, where'er I go, whate'er I know, and whoe'er my neighbor be. This single faith in life and death, and to eternity. The people, Lord, thy people, are good enough for me.
Hey, yes.
And that was good enough for us. So thank
You're muted.
You're muted, Amanda.
Nobody can hear me, can you? So Pelagie is next, followed by Graham Baldwin.
Okay, departure from my usual rubbish. I'm going to do a Rudyard Kipling poem. It's called the Ballad of Minepit Shore. About the time that taverns shut and men can buy no beer, two lads went up to the keeper's hut to steal Lord Pelham's deer. Night and the liquor was in their heads, they laughed and talked no bounds, till they waked the keepers on their beds, and the keepers loosed the hounds. They had killed a hart, they had killed a hind, ready to carry away, when they heard a whimper down the wind, and they heard a bloodhound bay. They took and ran across the fern, their crossbows in their hand, till they met a man with a green lantern, that called and bade them stand. What are ye doing, O flesh and blood, and what's your foolish will, that you must break into Minepit wood, and wake the folk of the hill? Oh, we've broke into Lord Pelham's park, and killed Lord Pelham's deer, and if ever you heard a little dog bark, you'll know why we come here. We ask you, let us go our way as fast as we can flee, for if ever you heard a bloodhound bay, you'll know how pressed we be. Oh, lay your crossbows on the bank, and drop the knives from your hand, and though the hounds be at your flank, I'll save you where you stand. They laid their crossbows on the bank, they threw their knives in the wood, and the ground before them opened and sank, and saved 'em where they stood. Oh, what's the roaring in our ears that strikes us well nigh dumb? Oh, that is just how things appears, according as they come. What are the stars before our eyes that strike us well nigh blind? Oh, that is just how things arise, according as you find. Why's our bed so hard to the bones, excepting where it's cold? Oh, that's because it's precious stones, excepting where 'tis gold. Think it over as you stand, for I tell you without fail, if you haven't got into fairyland, you're not in Lewes jail. All night long they thought of it, and come the dawn they saw they'd tumbled into a great old pit at the bottom of Minepit shore. And the keeper's hound had followed 'em close and broke her neck in the fall. So they picked up their knives and their crossbows, and they buried the dog, that's all. But whether the man was a poacher too, or a Pharisee so bold, I reckon there's more things told than are true, and more things true than are told. Rudyard Kipling. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Pelagie. Rudyard Kipling, of course. Peter Bellamy connection there for sure. Okay, Graham is next, followed by our very own John White.
Well, I'm not going to do a Rudyard Kipling or a Peter Bellamy song. I'm going to do a fairly modern song, but I consider it very folky. It's it's a very personal song for me because it reminds me of my youth, and I suspect it probably reminds many of you guys of your youth, particularly if you were brought up in England. I was brought up in Birmingham. This is a London song actually, and it uses this amazingly complicated instrument called a kazoo. And I'm sure you'll know this. Many of you will know this. And you should please join in with the chorus if you do. Put a parking on a piece of land where the supermarket used to stand before they put up a bowling alley on the site that used to be the local pally. That's where the big bands used to come and play. My sister went there on a Saturday, come dancing. All the boyfriends used to come and call. Why not come dancing? It's only natural. another Saturday, another date. She would be ready, but she'd always make him wait in the hallway in anticipation. He didn't know the night would end up in frustration. He'd end up blowing all his wages for the week, or for a cuddle and a peck up on the cheek. Come dancing, that's how they did it when I was just a kid. And when I say come dancing, my sister always did. My sister used to come home at midnight. My mum would sit up and wait. It always ended up in a big row when my sister used to come home late. There was I sitting out my window. I can see them there in the moonlight smooching. Two silhouettes saying goodnight by the garden gate. The day they knocked down the Pelagie, my sister stood there and cried. The day they knocked down the Pelagie, part of my childhood died. Now I'm grown up and playing in a band, and there's a car park where the Pelagie used to stand. My sister's married and she lives on an estate. Her daughters go out now, it's her turn to wait. She knows they get away with things they never could, but if I ask her, I wonder if she would. Come dancing, come on sister, have yourself a ball. Don't be afraid to come dancing, it's only natural. Come dancing, just like the Pelagie on a Saturday, and all the friends will come dancing where the big bands used to play. There you go, come dancing, Ray Davies, the king. Yeah, London folk for you, I think.
Yay, probably our first kazoo at Sharps in Isolation. I could be wrong. Anyway, thank you. John White is our next singer, and then let's hear from Mick Elfred.
I'm one of the group that Chris has arranged to do songs from Peter Bellamy's The Transports. And just a quick reminder of the situation. It takes place in 1788, an important date because in 1776, as you all know, we were thrown out of America and were unable to send our convicts to the penal colonies there. And we had these thousands of convicts shoved into emergency accommodation in UK until they were eventually gathered together and brought down to Plymouth to be sent out in a fleet to the newly discovered land of Australia. And this is their song. It starts off with a song from the sailors as they are walking around the deck, pushing the capstan. So it's a capstan shanty. Sweet ladies of Plymouth, we're saying goodbye. Roll down. We'll rock you and roll you again by and by. Walk around, me brave boys, and roll down, and we will roll down. Walk around, me brave boys, and roll down. Our anchors are weighed and our sails are unfurled. Roll down. We're bound for to take her halfway round the world. Walk around, me brave boys, and roll down. When the Cape of Good Hope it is rounded and passed, roll down. Those poor stranded transports will think of their past, walk around me, babe boys, and roll down, and we will roll down. Walk around me, babe boys, and roll down. And when we arrive off Australia's strand, roll down. Those poor weary transports will long for the land. Walk around me, babe boys, and we'll roll down. And when we set sail from Australia's shore, roll down. Those poor stranded transports will see them no more. Walk around me, babe boys, and roll down. Then sweet ladies of Plymouth will pay all your rent. Roll down and go roving no more till our money's all spent. Walk around me, babe boys, and roll down.
Hey.
Nicely done, John. Thank you. Over now to Mick, Alfred, and then one from Riggy Rackin, please.
Okay. During the third lockdown, I've attempted to learn quite a few new songs, and this is one of them. But see, you'll probably know it. It's basically it's an industrial ballad where a young guy who's a handweaver and is following in father's footsteps falls in love with a factory maid. He sees her going past the door and goes, "Oh, she's a bit all right." And it's a conversation where his father's being rather scornful, and but he doesn't care, because if he could get her, it wouldn't matter. It's called the Handweaver and the Factory Maid. am a handweaver to be tried. I fell in love with a factory maid, and if I could but her favours win, I'd stand beside her and weep with steam. I'll give father to me, scornful said, how could you fancy a factory maid, when you could have girls fine and gay, all dressed up like unto the Queen of the May. Oh, for your fine girls I don't care, if I could but enjoy my dear, I'd stand beside her all the day, and she and I'd keep our shuttles in play. To my lord's bedroom door, where I had been oft time before, but I could not speak nor yet get in, the pleasant bed where she lay in. Oh, well, can you say it's a pleasant bed when naught lies there but a factory maid? But a factory maid, although she be, blessed is the man that enjoys she. Oh, pleasant thoughts come to me mind as I turn back the sheets to find and see the two breasts standing so like two white hills all covered in snow. Where have the girls gone? I'll tell you plain. The girls have all gone to Weebestein. If you would catch 'em, you must rise at dawn and tramp to a mill in the early morn. Oh, I am the handweaver to my trade. I fell in love with a factory maid, and if I could but a favour win, I'd stand beside her and weep this stream.
Thank you, Mick. Over now to Riggy, followed by Wendy Lanchin.
Okay, I'm going to do my favorite Bellamy song. Unfortunately, it is not a Peter Bellamy song. He has a not relation up in Grimsby, whose name is Paul Bellamy. And Paul Bellamy took an Alfred Williams find in folk songs of the north of the Upper Thames and put this melody to it. The silvery moon that shines so bright, I swear with reason as my teacher, that if my midnight glass runs right, there's time to drink another pitcher. It's not yet day, it's not yet day. Why should we forsake good liquor until the sunbeams around us play? Let's joke and push about the pitcher. I dearly love a hearty man, no sniggering milk-sot Jimmy Twitcher, that loves a lass and loves the glass, then loudly calls for another pitcher. It's not yet day, it's not yet day. Why should we forsake good liquor until the sunbeams around us play? Let's joke and push about the pitcher. They say that we must work all day, then sleep all night till awake much richer. But what is all the world thus say compared to mirth, my friends, in picture? It's not yet day, it's not yet day. Why should we forsake good liquor until the sunbeams round us play? Let's joke and push about the pitcher. though one may boast a handsome wife, and yet strange vagaries may bewitch her. Unvexed I lead the cheerful heart, and loudly call for a t'other pitcher. It's not yet day, it's not yet day. Why should we forsake good liquor until the sunbeams around us play? Let's joke and push about the pitcher. It's not yet day, it's not yet day. Why should we forsake good liquor until the sunbeams around us play? Let's joke and push about the pitcher. Paul Bellamy.
Two Bellamys for the price of one this evening. Okay, thanks, Riggy. Over now to Wendy, followed by John Roberts.
This is a Bellamy song, a Peter Bellamy song, and it's one of the poems that he set, one of the Kipling poems that he set. Have you news of my boy Jack? Not this tide. When do you think that he'll come back? Not with this wind blowing and this tide. Has anyone else had word of him? Not this tide. For what is sunk can hardly swim, not with this wind blowing and this tide. Oh, what comfort can I find? None this tide nor any tide, except he did not shame his kind, not even with that wind blowing and that tide. Then hold your head up all the more, this tide and every tide, because he was the son you bore and gave to that wind blowing and that tide.
Lovely.
Oh, that was superb. Heartbreaking stuff, Wendy. Thank you. Okay, John Roberts is next, followed by Judy Cook.
Thank you. I'm going to sing you a song that I think Kipling wrote when he was living in southern Vermont in his home Norlaco, which he built there. It was restored in the 80s and 90s, and I sang at the house with my singing partner Tony Barrand at its grand opening and on a number of occasions since. And this is a poem he wrote in 1893, and I think he would have written it there. Peter Bellamy visited Norlaco when he was playing in southern Vermont. Our mutual friend, the late Margaret MacArthur, had access to it before it was restored, and she took him to visit. Anyway, this is the anchor song. I walk around a heave shot again. Over, snatch her over there and hold her on the pole. Loose all sail and brace your yards aback and full. Ready, Jim, to pay her off and heave short toll. Well, fare you well, we can stay no more with you, me love. Down, set down your liquor and the girl from off your knee. For the wind has come to say you must take me while you may. If you'd go to Mother Carey, walk her down to Mother Carey. Oh, we're bound for Mother Carey, where she feeds her chicks at sea. I walk around break it out of that, break a starboard bow around to peak a wash and clear. Port she casts with the harbour mud beneath the foot. That's the last of bottom we shall see this year. Well, fare you well, but we've got to take her out again. Take her out in ballast, riding light and cargo free. And it's time to clear and quit when the hawser grips the bit. So we'll pay you with a 4-sheet and a promise from the sea. Hey, tally on, aft and walk away with her. Handsome to the cathead now, oh tally on the fall. Stop, seize and fish, and easy on the davit guy. Up, well up the fluke of her and inboard haul. Well, fare you well, for the channel winds took hold of us, choking down our voices as we snatch the gaskets free. And it's blowing up for night, and she's dropping light on light, and she's snorting as she's snatching for a breath of open sea. We'll fallen by, but she'll smell her road alone tonight. Sick she is and harbour sick, oh, sick to clear the land. Roll down to Brest with the old red ensign over us. Carry on and thrash her out with all she'll stand. Well, fare you well, and its ocean slams the door on us, whirling like a windmill through the dirty scud to lee, till the last flicker goes from the tumbling water rose, and we're off to Mother Carey, walk her down to Mother Carey. Oh, we're bound for Mother Carey, where she feeds her chicks at sea. The Anchor Song. There you go.
Oh, that's great.
Great song.
Great stuff, John, and lovely to have you back with us. We haven't seen you for quite a while, so welcome back. Okay, Judy Cook is next, followed by Martin Woodford.
Okay, I'm going to sing a song by John Valentine Devine, who, I could say lots about it, but I will just sing it. It's called The Badger Drive, from Badger, Newfoundland area. There is one class of man in this country that never is mentioned in song. Oh, but now that his trade is advancing, he'll come out on top before long. They say that our sailors have danger, and likewise our warriors bold. But there's none like the life of a driver, what he suffers with hardship and cold. With their pike poles and peavies and bateaux and all, they're sure to drive out in the spring, that's the time, with the caulks on their boots as they get on the logs, and it's hard to get over their time. Billy Dorothy, he is the manager, and he's a good man at the trade. And when he's around seeking drivers, he's like a train going down grade. But still, he's a man that's kind-hearted, and on his word you can depend. And there's never a man that works with him but wants to go with him again. With their pike poles and peavies and bateaux and all, they're sure to drive out in the spring, that's the time, with the caulks on their boots as they get on the logs, and it's hard to get over their time. Now I tell you today, back in London, Betimes it is read by each man, but little they think of the fellows who drove the wood on Mary Ann. Yet paper is made out of pulpwood, and many things more you may know, and long may our boys live to drive it from off Paymiock and Tom Joe, with their pike poles and peavies and bateaux and all. They're sure to drive out in the spring, that's the time, with the cocks on their boots as they get on the logs, and it's hard to get over their time. The drive, it is just below Badger, and everything is going grand, with a jolly good crew of picked drivers and Ronald Kelly in command. Now Ronald is boss on the river, and he is a man that's alive. He drove the wood off Victoria, now he's out on the main river drive, with their pike poles and peavies and bateaux and all. They're sure to drive out in the spring, that's the time, with the cocks on their boots as they get on the logs, and it's hard to get over their time. So now to conclude and to finish, I hope that with me you'll agree in wishing success to all drivers and the A&D Company. And long may they live for to flourish and continue to chop, drive, and roll. Oh, and long may the business be managed by Bill, Dorothy, and Mr. Cole, with their pike poles and peavies and bateaux and all. They're sure to drive out in the spring, that's the time, with the caulks on their boots as they get on the logs, and it's hard to get over their time. Thank you.
Always good to have you with us, Judy. And next we have Martin Woodford, somebody else we haven't seen for absolutely ages. So welcome back, Martin. Jean and Phil, could you follow Martin, please?
Count yourself lucky. Sing oak and ash and thorn, good folk, all of a midsummer's morn. Surely we sang of no little thing in oak and ash and thorn. Of all the trees that grow so fair, old England to adorn, greater are none beneath the sun than oak and ash and thorn. Sing oak and ash and thorn, good folk, all of a midsummer's morn. Surely we sang of no little thing in oak and ash and thorn. Yew that is old in the churchyard mould, he breedeth a mighty bough. Alder for shoes do wise men choose, and beech for cups also. But when ye have killed and your blood is spilled, your shoes are clean outworn. Back you must speed for all that you need to oak and ash and thorn. Sing oak and ash and thorn, good folk, all of a midsummer's morn. Surely we sang of no little thing in oak and ash and thorn. Oh, do not tell the priest our plight, or he would call it a sin. But we have been out in the woods all night, a conjuring summer in, and we bring news by word of mouth, good news for cattle and corn. Now is the sun come up in the south, with oak and ash and thorn. Sing oak and ash and thorn, good folk, all of a midsummer's morn. Surely we sang of no little thing in oak and ash and thorn. Last time. Sing oak and ash and thorn, good folk, all of a midsummer's morn. Surely we sang of no little thing in oak and ash and thorn. Thank you.
Good to hear you again, Martin. Jean and Phil next, followed by Helen Engelhart.
Thank you. This is a musical song originally sung by the incomparable Gus Elan, who obviously sang it from the male point of view, and it was then known as Mrs. Carter. We find that from our own matrimonial situation, it works better the other way, and so it's become Mr. Carter. Oh, it's got a chorus, and like lots of sort of songs from the musical, it's got an 8-line chorus, which we don't expect you to join in with, but the last 2 lines might be worthwhile. What's the use of couples getting married at all if they never have a blooming row?
Some time ago, when grass was rather short and didn't seem as if it were growing, says I, to get a bloke I really ought, and one as goes to work would save me owing. Well, I found a chap, to church we made a call, but since we've been in harness double jointed, well, I found that married life don't suit at all. Well, to tell the truth, I'm downright disappointed. Oh, he's too good to live, is Mr. Carter. He's a tartar and I'm a martyr. I feel just as if I'd like to shake him. Upon my word, he's awful aggravating. Why don't he jaw a bit, or cause a little riot somehow? What's the use of couples getting married at all if they never have a blooming row? His pleasant ways, they fair give me the ump. I was never one for honeymoonal blisses. He's like a pound of tuppenny halfpenny lump, and I never could stand bread and cheese and kisses. I wish we was the couple overhead, 'cause they bangs each other's heads with a compunction. There's many a time you'd think that he was dead, 'cause his face is like the map of Clapham Junction. Oh, he's too good to live, is Mr. Carter. He's a tartar and I'm a martyr. I feel just as if I'd like to shake him. Upon my word, he's awful aggravating. Why don't he jaw a bit, or cause a little riot somehow? What's the use of couples getting married at all if they never have a blooming row? Well, I'm absolutely sick of this estate. I get quite as arse-rooted, lock and snappy.
Surely not.
I'll have to row with someone else's mate, 'cause it's a misery for me to be so happy. I've done me very best to do me worst, all kinds of provocation I've been giving. If I don't soon have a row, I think I'll burst. Well, how's the magistrates to get their living? Oh, he's too good to live, is Mr. Carter. He's a tartar and I'm a martyr. I feel just as if I'd like to shake him. Upon my word, he's awful aggravating. Why don't he jaw a bit, or cause a little riot somehow? What's the use of couples getting married at all if they never have a blooming row?
Hooray!
Can't beat a music hall chorus. Okay, Helen Engelhart is next, followed by Jim Lucas.
Okay. So let's see what I can do here. Right. Wait. Oh, the grass in the meadow, the reeds by the mere, the sad boom of the bittern is all that I hear, and the leaves in the woodland and the gulls by the shore cry you never shall sit by your loved ones no more. But when I was a young girl, the world it did seem gay. But these cruel hard times do drive comfort away. And the leaves in the woodland and the gulls by the shore cry, you never shall dance with your sweetheart no more. Once I gathered wildflowers in the sweet countryside, but my garlands have withered, my posies have died, and the leaves in the woodland and the gulls by the shore cry you never shall lie with your husband no more. You never shall lie by your husband no more. Once I went a-courting, but now my man's gone. Once I was a mother, but now I am alone. And the leaves in the woodland and the gulls by the shore cry, you never shall walk with your menfolk no more. You never shall walk with your menfolk no more. Come all you young women that's free from all care. Don't you ever get married, all sorrows lie there. For the leaves in the woodland and the gulls by the shore cry, the heart that is given no man may restore. The heart that is given no man may restore. Now the fields are all empty, the hedgerows are bare, only wild desolation is all I find there. I'll go down to the river to ease all my pain, and who knows, but I might find my dear ones again. Who knows, but I might find my dear ones again. The leaves in the woodland.
Thank you, Helen. Okay, time now for Jim Lucas, followed by Trista Sellis.
Okay, I'm going to do a Kipling, which I haven't been able to find any recording of Peter doing it, but he's responsible for my doing it, because many years ago, through an incredible coincidence, I had never yet heard Peter, but I was in England and I discovered I had just missed him at a folk club, and I was heading off somewhere else to another folk club where I was going to have my first experience with an English folk club. And while waiting for the train, this fellow on the other end of the bench looked at my concertina case and said, Anglo or English? And it turned out to be Peter Bellamy, and we shared a train ride and dinner on the way to the folk club where he was going to be the featured performer. And he expounded on his love of Kipling, and especially the fact that he and many believed that Kipling had particular English folk songs and their tunes in mind while composing some of his
poems. So this is one of them. This is from the First World War. Farewell and adieu to you. Whoops, I'm getting the wrong tune. I'm getting the wrong tune. Just a second. Farewell. Nope. Somebody, somebody
Farewell and
please.
adieu to you, Spanish ladies. Farewell.
That's
and
it. There's another song that I also used to be doing to that tune until I found a better one for it, and I keep getting them confused. Farewell and adieu to you, Spanish ladies. Okay. Farewell and adieu to you, Harwich ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of shore. For we've received orders to work to the eastward, where we hope in a short time to strafe 'em some more. We'll duck and we'll dive like little tin turtles. We'll duck and we'll dive underneath the North Seas until we strike something that doesn't expect us. From here to Cuxhaven, it's go as you please. The first thing we did was to dock in a minefield, which isn't a place where repairs should be done. And then we laid doggo in 12-fathom water with trinitro-toluol hogging our run. The next thing we did, we rose under a zeppelin with his shiny big belly half blocking the sky. But what in the heavens can you do with 6-pounders? So we fired what we had and we bade them goodbye. Farewell and adieu to you, Harwich ladies. Farewell and adieu to you, ladies ashore. For we've received orders to work to the eastward, where we hope in a short time to strafe 'em some more. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. That's a great story as well about meeting Peter Bellamy. Okay, welcome now to Trista Sellis, who I think we haven't seen here before, although I'm losing track. So welcome, Trista. And let's have Martin Neal after Trista. Are you there, Trista? You'll need to unmute. We can't hear you.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I thought I was unmuted, but I think I got muted when everyone did. Yeah, so I just said this is a song that I actually first heard at Sharp's in person, sung by somebody, and I really liked it. And it's a Bellamy Kipling. It's Sir Richard's song, and if the person who sang it really well is here tonight, my apologies. I was hoping you would be, but maybe you're not. Right, note. I followed my duke ere I was a lover, to take from England fief and fee. But now this game is the other way over. But now England hath taken me. I had my horse, my shield and banner, and a boy's heart so whole and free. But now I sing in another manner. But now England hath taken me. As for my father in his tower, asking for news of my ship at sea, he will remember his own hour. Tell him England hath taken me. As for my mother in her bower, that rules my father so cunningly, she will remember a maiden's power. Tell her England hath taken me. As for my brother in Rouen city, and a nimble and naughty page is he, but he will come to suffer and pity. Tell him England hath taken me. As for my little sister waiting in the pleasant orchards of Normandy, tell her youth is the time for mating. Tell her England hath taken me. As for my comrades in camp and highway, that lift their eyebrows so scornfully, tell them their way is not my way. Tell them England hath taken me. Kings and princes and barons famed, knights and captains in your degree, hear me a little before I'm blamed, seeing England hath taken me. How so great man's strength be reckoned, there are two things that he cannot flee. Love is the first and death is the second, and love in England hath taken me. That's it.
Very nice.
Thanks, Trista. Great to hear you sing. Okay, time now for Martin Nail, and Martin will be followed by Charles West.
Right, I don't know any Peter Bellamy songs or song poems he set to music, so I'm not going to sing one. I sing lots of songs that he sang, but this is one that, as far as I know, he never sang. Oh, my name is Arthur Hollanden, as you may understand. I was born in the city of Waterford, in Erin's lovely land. When I was young and in my prime, good fortune on me shone. My parents raised me tenderly, for I was their only son. One morn my father he arose, and with him I did go. He bound me as a butcher's boy to Kearney's of Wicklow. I wore the bloody apron there for 3 long years or more, till I shipped on board of the Ocean's Queen, the pride of old Tramore. Well, when we reached Bermuda's Isle, there we met with Captain Moore, the master of the Flying Cloud from out of Baltimore. And I undertook to sail with him on a slaving voyage to go to the burning shores of Africa, where the sugar cane does grow. Well, all went well until we came to Africa's burning shore. 500 of them weeping slaves from their native land we bore. We marched them up onto the deck, then made them go below. Just 18 inches space, me boys, was all each man had to show. But the plague it came, and fever too, and it took them off like flies. We had their bodies up on deck, then stove 'em in the tide. It were better for the rest of them if they had gone before, than to feel the lash and drag the chain on Cuba forevermore. But now our money is all spent, we must go to sea for more. So each man stayed and listened to the words of Captain Moore. There's gold and silver to be had if with me you'll remain. We'll hoist a pirate flag aloft, and we'll scour the Spanish Main. We robbed and plundered many a ship, all on the Spanish Main. Left many a widow and orphan child in sorrow to complain. We gave to them no quarter, but we gave them watery graves. For a saying of our captain was that dead men tell no tales. We were pursued by many a ship, by frigates and liners too, until a British man of war the Dunshmore hove in view. A shot then killed our Captain Moore and 20 of his men, and a chain shot took our mainmast down, so we had to surrender then. So now to Newgate we are come, bound down with iron chains, for the robbing and the plundering of ships on the Spanish Main. The jury finds us guilty, and we are condemned to die. Young men, a warning take by me, that's to shun all piracy. The Flying Cloud.
Thank you for that cheerful offering, Martin. Okay, Charles West now, followed by Storm.
Okay, I'm going to try and lighten things up a little bit here with a song by Antonio Carlos Jobim, which came up an album called Jazz Samba, but this isn't really a samba. Tall and tan and young and lovely, girl from Ipanema goes walking home. Oh, I'm going to start that again. Tall and tan and young and lovely, girl from Ipanema goes walking home. I'm sorry, Amanda. I've just lost it today. I'm going to stop this.
Oh, sorry about that, Charles. Hopefully another time. We'll look forward to that on another occasion. Storm is next, and then could we have Alison Frosdick to end the first half, please?
Okay. So early in the morning, the turnkey rings his bell. So early in the morning, we wish his soul to hell. So early in the morning, when the night begins to pale, we wonder if we'll ever see the last of Norwich jail. The food is foul, the air is bad, the company not choice. 'Twould make you scowl to hear the mad old turnkey's rasping voice. 'Twould make you wonder, would you ever live to tell the tale of the hardships and the miseries you've known in Norwich jail. Our water here is scummy green, our beds is heaps of straw. There's water running down the walls, rats running o'er the floor. There's naught to eat but rotten meat that'd make a dog turn pale. Oh, it's dainty board and lodging when you visit Norwich jail. So early in the morning the turnkey rings his bell. So early in the morning we wish his soul to hell. So early in the morning when the night begins to pale, we wonder if we'll ever see the last of Norwich jail. Whenever we fancy bathing, we paddles in the drains. And when we seeks a concert, we rattles of our chains. And when we seeks a banquet, we drink sludge and call it ale. If you wanna find time, commit a crime and come to Norwich jail. Now if you fancy gaming here, the race is run by fleas. The stakes are perilous high, a crust of moldy cheese. The first time that I tried my luck, I nearly lost my shirt. But lucky for me, they couldn't see the booger for the dirt. So early in the morning, the turnkey rings his bell. So early in the morning, we wish his soul to hell. So early in the morning, when the night begins to pale, we wonder if we'll ever see the last of Norwich jail. If they'd sent us to America, today we would be free. But since the Revolution, that land we'll never see. We are not for New England shores, 3,000 miles away. They say we're bound for some further ground, and they've named it Botany Bay. Well, perhaps it's out by India, or maybe near Japan, just off the coast of Canada, or in the hills of Spain. But wherever that strange land may be, we know it cannot fail to be a far, far better place than stinking Norwich jail. So early in the morning the turnkey rings his bell. So early in the morning we wish his soul to hell. So early in the morning when the night begins to pale, we long for the day we'll sail away from thinking Norwich jail from the transports.
Storm, it is better
Excellent
here.
job, Storm. Fantastic.
Done with great feeling, Storm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, we'll have another two singers before the end of the first half. So we'll have Alison Frosdick, followed by Margaret Walters.
Thanks, Amanda. This song is variously known. I'm not entirely sure what its actual name is, but it's known as Rue, or When Fishes Fly, or Oh No Me Love Not I. And this version is a kind of a combination from Mary Humphreys and singing and Tom Bliss, with me messing around with some of the words as well. So, and it's a very miserable song. As I rode out one morning at the dawning of the day, I spied a fair young maid a-walking, gathering sweet May. I asked of her for to bed with me, I'd marry her by and by. All the answer that she said to me was, no, me love, not I. When fishes fly and swallows die, young men will prove true. There's a herb in me father's garden, and some they call it rue. They walked along together, till at length they did agree to lie upon a mossy bank beneath a shady tree. The blackbird and the sweet song thrush through the bushes they did fly, and the song that they sang in chorus was, no, me love, not I. When fishes fly and swallows die, young men will prove true. There's a herb in me father's garden, and some they call it rue. Now 20 weeks being over, she grew thick around the waist. Her face it did grow pale and wan, her stays they would not lace. Her gown it would not pin, nor her apron strings would tie. And she rued the day that she said to him, oh no, me love, not I. When fishes fly and swallows die, young men will prove true. There's a herb in me father's garden, and some they call it rue. So she wrote a note to her true love to come immediately. The answer that he sent to her was, no, me love, not me. Supposing I should come to you, on me they'd put the blame. My parents, they'd be angry, and my friends would me disdain. When fishes fly and swallows die, young men will prove true. There's a herb in me father's garden, and some they call it rue. There is one thing I can advise you, and but one thing you should do. That's to tie your baby on your back and a begging you must go. And when your feet they are cut and sore, just sit you down and cry, and curse the day that you said to me, oh no, me love, not I. When fishes fly and swallows die, young men will prove true. There's a herb in me father's garden, and some they call it rue.
Well sung.
Bravo. Bravo.
Well sung.
Lovely stuff, Alison. Thank you. So we now welcome Margaret Walters, who is singing in Sydney, I believe. So well done for making it tonight. After Margaret, we will have a short break, parish notices, and then a short break, and then we'll go through all the other singers who haven't sung yet. Over to you, Margaret.
This is Frankie's Trade, a Kipling Bellamy double. And it's the Oceans discussing where Francis Drake might have learned his skills. Old Horn to all Atlantic said, hey-oh to me-oh, now where did Frankie learn his trade? For he ran me down with a 3-sheet mainsail all around the Horn. Atlantic answered, not from me, hey-oh to me-oh, you'd better ask the cold North Sea, for he ran me down under all plain canvas all around the Horn. North Sea answered, he's my man, hey-oh to me-oh, for he came to me when he began, young Frankie Drake in an open coaster all around the sands. I did not favour him at all, hey-oh to me-oh, I made him pull and I made him haul and stand his trick with the common sailors all around the sands. I froze him stiff and I fogged him blind, hey-oh to me-oh, and I kicked him home with his road to find by what he could see through a 3-day snowstorm all around the sands. Before his beard began to shoot, hey-oh to me-oh, I showed him the length of a Spaniard's foot, and I reckon he clapped the boot on it later all around the sands. I taught him his trade on winter nights, hey-oh to me-oh, twixt Mardyke Fort and Dunkirk lights, on a 5-knot tide with the forts a firing all around the sands. If there's a risk that you can make, hey-oh to me-oh, that's worse than he was used to make, nigh every night in the way of his business all around the sands. If there's a trick that you can try, hey-oh to me-oh, he hasn't used in times gone by, not once or twice, but 10 times over, all around the sands. If you can teach him aught that's new, hey-oh to me-oh, I'll give you Bruges and Newport too, and the 10 tall churches that stand between them, all around the sands. Oh, storm along me gallant captains, all around the Horn.
Thank you.
Well sung.
Well sung.
Oh, good.
All right. Well, I'm singing one of the Peter Bellamy selections. This one is a little on the esoteric side. It's a tune that he was singing when he was touring here back in the 80s called The Zealous Puritan. And Puritan, as most of you probably know, are the group of people that kind of started to form up during the reign of Queen Elizabeth and James I, and they wanted to reform the Church of England to take away some of its Roman Catholic traits. And when Charles I assumed the throne with his very anti-Puritan Archbishop William Laud, many of these Puritans migrated to other places.
You can't hear you for some reason, Stacey.
I got muted again. So where did that leave off?
Puritans migrating.
Ah, good. So a lot of the 10 to 20,000 Puritans migrated to New England in the 1620s and 1630s. And this was a 1639 ballad that Peter set to a very, very lovely tune. And we had a correspondence over this because this was supposed to be a satire. And I thought that his tune was so beautiful that it didn't really make you have any kind of odd feelings toward the Puritans. So here we go. And also, I'm going to be cheeky enough to, at the end, to after I finish the song, I'm going to sing one verse in the tune that I suggested I'd love to hear the song sung to. So here we go. My brethren all attend and list to my relation. This is the day, mark what I say, tends to your renovation. Stay not among the wicked, lest that with them you perish. But let us to New England go, and the pagan people cherish. Therefore, the truth's sake, come along, leave this place of superstition. Were it not for we that the brethren be, you would sink into perdition. There you may teach our hymns without the law's controlment. The bishops there we need not fear, nor the spiritual court's enrollment. Nay, the surplice shall not fright us, nor superstitious blindness, nor scandals rise when we disguise and our sister kiss in kindness. For company I fear it not, there goes my cousin Hannah, and Reuben so persuades to go my cousin Joyce Susanna, with Abigail and Faith, and Ruth no doubt comes after, and Sarah kind will not stay behind, my cousin Constance' daughter. Tom Tyler is prepared, and our Smith as black as coal. Ralph Cobbler too with us shall go, for he regards his soul. With the weaver honest Simon, and Prudence Jacob's daughter, and Sarah she and Barbary professeth to come after. When we that are elected arrive in that fair country, even by our faith, as the brethren saith, we will not fear our entry. The psalm shall be our music, our time spent in expounding, which in our zeal we will reveal to the brethren joy abounding. Therefore, the truth's sake, come along, leave this place of superstition. Were it not for we that the brethren be, you would sink into perdition. And now the other tune. My brethren all attend and list to my relation. This is the day, mark what I say, tends to your renovation. Stay not among the wicked, lest that with them you perish. But let us to New England go, and the pagan people cherish. There, for the truth's sake, come along, leave this place of superstition. Were it not for we that the brethren be, you would sink into perdition. The Zealous Puritan, 1639.
I'd just like to comment that the Puritans single-handedly offended so many people that we now have 6 states in the northeastern United States where there was once only one state.
Well, it sounds great with both tunes, Stacey. Thank you. Okay, Jill Rower is next, followed by Steve Andis Saw.
I'm very fond of this song because it's very directly about personal experience. In the days before they invented the term nervous breakdown, and it's called Spencer the Rover. These words were recorded by Spencer the Rover, who travelled through England and most parts of Wales. He had been so reduced that caused much confusion, and that was the reason for his going on the roam. In Yorkshire near Rotherham he had been on his ramblings. Being weary of travelling, he sat down to rest. At the foot of yonder mountain there runs a clear fountain. With bread and cold water he himself did refresh. It tasted much sweeter than the gold he had squandered, more sweeter than honey, and gave more content. But the thought of his babies lamenting their father brought tears in their eyes, which made him lament. The night fast approaching, to the woods he resorted, with woodbine and ivy set all around his bed. There he dreamed about sighing, lamenting and crying. Go home to your family and rambling forsake. On the 5th day of September, I'd have reason to remember, when first he arrived home to his family and wife. When first so they stood so confounded, surprised and dumbfounded, to behold such a stranger once more in their midst. His children came around him with their prittle-prattling stories, to drive cares away. Now they are united like birds of one feather, like bees in one hive, contented they'll be. So now he's a living in his cottage contented, with woodbine and roses growing all around the door. He's as happy as those that sup thousands of riches. Contented he'll stay and go rambling no more. Spencer the Rover.
Oh, I love that one. Great song.
I haven't seen them for a while.
Thanks, Jill. Good to hear you. Okay, Steve Andis Saw is next, followed by Sheila Miller.
Here's a little song about the dangers of being too good at your job. A nice young fella was William Brown. He worked for a wage in a northern town. He worked from early morn till night, turning the wheel from left to right. Keep that wheel a-turning, keep that wheel a-turning, keep that wheel a-turning, and do little more each day. One day the boss to William came. He said, look here young, what's his name? You must improve production, so work a bit harder or out you go. And keep that wheel a-turning, keep that wheel a-turning, keep that wheel a-turning, and do little more each day. William turned and he made a run 3 times round in the space of one. He turned so hard he soon was made the Lord High Turner of his trade. And keep that wheel a-turning, keep that wheel a-turning, keep that wheel a-turning, and do little more each day. William turned with the same sweet smile. The goods he made grew such a pile. It filled the room and the room next door, and overflowed the basement floor. And keep that wheel a-turning, keep that wheel a-turning, keep that wheel a-turning, and do little more each day. The nation heard of the wondrous tale. The news appeared in the Saunham Mail. The railways ran excursions down, all to see young William Brown. Keep that wheel a-turning, keep that wheel a-turning, keep that wheel a-turning, and do little more each day. But sad the sequel is to tell. It turned out more than the boss could sell. The market slumped and the price came down. 7 more days and they sacked young Brown. So keep that wheel a-turning, keep that wheel a-turning, keep that wheel a-turning, and do little more each day. Ta.
Woo! Yay! Brilliant.
Oops. Yeah, what they said, Steve. Thank you. Okay, over now to Sheila Miller for something completely different, followed by Racker Donnelly for something else totally different from that. Okay, over to you, Sheila.
Yes, there's no tap dancing in this one, I'm afraid. It wouldn't really go. This is one of the 2 songs on the original Transports album that were not sung by the people they were written for. All the songs on it were written for specific people. And this one was written for Lau. All of the other Watersons had their own songs, and Lau was meant to lead this one, but on the day of recording she was ill, so Peter and Anthea sang it. The other one, incidentally, was the Coachman's song, which was written for Royston, but Royston was living in the States by the time the album was recorded. And I'm all stuffed up with hay fever, so I hope this is all right. Farewell to our lovers and our kind relations. Farewell to the homes we love well. There is never an ending to our tribulations, for they've damned us like sinners to hell. Here's adieu. Here's adieu to the green fields of England. Now we're parting from you. The sweet fetters of love they are wrenching asunder, as they tear us from sweethearts and wives, and on some foreign shore we are sentenced to wander in exile the rest of our lives. Here's adieu. Here's adieu to the green fields of England. Now we're parting from you. From Devon, from Derby, from Wiltshire and Wales, from Norwich and Newark and Frome, we are herded together from verminous jails, and like vermin are forced from our homes. Here's adieu, here's adieu to the green fields of England, now we're parting from you. There's dicers, no, they're not there in the second half. There's the
cheats and cut purses.
Thank you, Martin. There's cheats. I haven't sung that, like Chris. I haven't sung this. I used to sing this all the time. I haven't sung it for ages. There's cheats and cut purses and rogues with no name. There's swindlers and sheep stealers bold. There's poor poaching fellas took nothing but game, and there's footpads took nothing but gold. Here's adieu, here's adieu to the green fields of England, now we're parting from you. There's coiners and clippers and ladies of pleasure. There's dicers and drunkards and whores. There's butchers and bakers who dealt in short measure, and a few who have broken no laws. Here's adieu, here's adieu to the green fields of England, now we're parting from you. There's some who expected to go to the gallows, there's others who thought to go free, but now one and all in the hulks lie shackled, and together must plough the salt sea. Here's adieu, here's adieu to the green fields of England, now we're parting from you. There's some of our number are handsome and hearty, there's others the voyage will mend, but there's never a soul of our miserable party will live to see England again. Here's adieu, here's adieu to the green fields of England, now we're parting from you. So farewell to all judges, so kind and forgiving. Farewell to your prisons and cells, for though we must leave all that makes life worth living, we are leaving you bastards as well. Here's adieu, here's adieu to the green fields of England, now we're parting from you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sheila. We're not parting yet. We have about another hour to go. Plenty of good singers to come as well. And Racker Donnelly is our next performer, followed by David Kidman. You'd be wanting to unmute, Racker. I still can't hear you. Oh, can't hear a thing.
Okay.
Yes, got you
Right,
now.
that's lovely. That's lovely. This is by my alter ego, Billy Brassic, and Billy would love that song that Sheila just sang about the green fields of old England, because he's absolutely patriotic and concerned with every aspect of English life. He's English to the core, is Billy Brassic. And this is Billy Brassic on the subject of well-being, an important issue, and Billy Brassic only deals with important issues. For me, well-being has got a lot to do with peeing and what to do when you need the loo like any human being. Since the British public convenience got thought to be inconvenient, and ignoring what went on in there got thought to be over lenient, since then, the late night streets are crammed with desperate men craving by and large not each other, but crying, pardon my French, où sont les pissoirs? Where can I dip my pen? Bursting for a leak and up the creek. Surely I'm not unique. Hobbling oddly with a thwarted gait, gasping to get there. But where? Before too late. Knees knotted, groin garrotted. What to do? You're turning blue. Things have come to a pretty pass when you start to regret that parting glass you drained into the dregs. Now all you ask is a thermos flask or hollow legs. WC's for well-being, that's what England needs. Beaming bowls, steaming stalls and tall cylindrical urinals. Whatever your politics, blue or red, remember what this voter said. A loo for me and a loo for you, and two for queuing ladies too. We'll switch our vote like that. Hey presto, when you pledge new loos in your manifesto. That was Billy Brassic.
Hey. Great stuff, Racker. Yeah. For the Racker.
Didn't realise you had an alter ego, Racker, but good to hear from him. Okay, over now to David Kidman, followed by Phil Edwards.
Right. In view of the time, no introduction to this one. Another one from the Transports, and it's The Black and Bitter Night. Oh, excuse me. It is cold, sad and lonely in this dismal cell. No solace comes up with the day. My heart knows an anguish that no tongue can tell, since they've taken my true love away. Oh, the black and bitter night, and oh, the weary day. My love has been snatched far, far from my sight, and the transports will bear her away. When first in this prison, so deep was my pain, then she come and she banished dismay. But now in despondence I'm drowning again. Now they've taken my true love away. Though surrounded by horrors, yet we found delight. For where love is, no sorrow can stay. But misery and squalor swim back to my sight. Now they've taken my true love away. Oh, the black and the bitter night, and oh, the weary day. My love has been snatched far, far from my sight, and the transports will bear her away. Well, the grasses still grow, and the streams do downflow, and the blackbird still sings on the spray. But in dark, dreary dungeons there's nothing but woe, since they've taken my true love the bitter night, and oh, the weary day. My love has been snatched far, far from my sight, and the transports will bear her away. Oh, if I were a seagull, I'd fly to her side, and it's there that I wish I could stay. But soon the cruel prison ships leave with the tide, and they're bearing my true love away. For if I was a herring, I'd wait by the slip, though I'd wait for a year and a day. Then through the wide oceans I'd follow the ship that is bearing my true love away. Oh, the black and the bitter night, and oh, the weary day. My love has been snatched far, far from my sight, and the transports will bear her away. So lovers cling fast to each pleasure you find, and cherish each moment of play. For all that you will have is what stays in your mind, once they've taken your true love away. Oh, the black and bitter night, and oh, the weary day. My love has been snatched far, far from my sight, and the transports will bear her away.
Thank you, David. Moving swiftly on, Phil Edwards is our next singer, and he'll be followed by Paddy Hannon. Over to you, Phil.
Okay, this is a song that this is a Kipling setting by Bellamy. It's a poem that Kipling wrote in Vermont shortly after a holiday in Bermuda, but that's about as cheerful as it gets. When he was on holiday in Bermuda, he met a survivor of a particularly gruesome military defeat in Afghanistan 14 years ago, and that's what this song is about. It's called That Day. Well, it got beyond all order and it got beyond all hope. It got to shamming wounded and retiring from the old companies was looking for the nearest road to slope. It was just a blooming knockout and our fault. And there ain't no chorus here to give, nor there ain't no band to play, except I wish that I was dead, for I done what I did, or seen what I saw that day. We were sick of being punished, and we let 'em know it too, till the company commander up and hit us with his sword. Then someone shouted, "Hook it," and it come to Sove-Ki-Poo, and we threw our rifles from us, oh my God. There were 30 dead and wounded on the ground that wouldn't keep, though there wasn't more than 20 when the line began to go. But Christ, along that line of flight, they cut us up like sheep, and that was all we gained by doing so. And there ain't no chorus here to give, nor there ain't no band to play, except I wish that I was dead, for I done what I did, or seen what I saw that day. Well, I heard the knives behind me, but I dursn't face my man, nor I don't know where I ran to, 'cause I didn't halt to see. But I heard some blighter squealing out for quarter as he ran, and I thought I knew the voice, and it was me. We were hiding under bedsteads more than half a march away. We were lying up like rabbits all around the countryside. And the Major cursed his maker that he'd lived to see that day. And the Colonel broke his sword across and cried. And there ain't no chorus here to give, nor there ain't no band to play, except I wish that I was dead, for I done what I did, or seen what I saw that day. We were rotten before it started, we were never disciplined. We made it out of favour if an order was obeyed. Oh, every little drummer had his rights and wrongs to mind, so we had to pay for teaching, and we paid. The papers hid it handsome, but you know the army knows. We were set to grooming camels till the regiment withdrew. And they give us each a medal for subduing England's foes. And I hope you like my song, because it's true. And there ain't no chorus here to give, nor there ain't no band to play, except I wish that I was dead, for I done what I did, or seen what I saw that day. Yes, I wish that I was dead, for I done what I did, or seen what I saw that day. That day.
Never heard that one before.
Great, Phil.
Thanks, Phil. Pretty harrowing song, that. Okay, over now to Paddy Hannon, followed by Gemma Kawaja.
A slightly more cheerful small shanty. There is some is bound for New York town, and some is bound for France. Heave away, me Johnny, heave away. And the some is bound for the Bengal Bay, to teach them whales a dance. Heave away, me Johnny boys, we're all bound to go. Our pilot, he's a-waiting on the turning of the tide. Heave away, me Johnny, heave away. And then me boys will be gone again on a good and a westerly wind. Heave away, me Johnny boys, we're all bound to go. So farewell to you, me Kingston girls, farewell St Andrew's Dock. Heave away, me Johnny, heave away. And if ever we return again, we'll make your cradles rock. Heave away, me Johnny boys, we're all bound to go. So come all of you hard weather sailing men who round the Cape of Storm. Heave away, me Johnny, heave away. And be sure of your boots and oilskins, or you'll wish you'd never been born. Heave away, me Johnny boys, we're all bound to go.
Hurrah!
Terrific. Terrific.
Thank you, Paddy. So now welcome to Gemma, who is joining us all the way from Norfolk.
Yay!
And Mary Hogan, could you follow Gemma, please?
Hello, it's lovely to be here and lovely to hear everybody. The song that I'm going to sing is a Bellamy song, but it's already been done. Helen and Chris Lamb both messaged me to say, oh no, we're really sorry, Helen did your song. Because it's the one I signed up to do, and I don't know another of his songs well enough. If I knew Testimonial well enough, I would do that, because it references one of my favourite places to nip over to, which is Warham Camp. But I'm going to do The Leaves in the Woodland. So, and the thing I always say about this song is, even though Norfolk's a lovely place to live, and I've lived here like 23 years, it can be quite bleak. And I really think that this song just sums up the bleakness of that Norfolk has. So here we go. Leaves in the Woodland, take 2. Oh, the grass in the meadow, the reeds by the mere, the sad boom of the bittern is all that I hear, and the leaves in the woodland, and the gulls by the shore cry, you never shall sit by your loved ones no more. You never shall sit by your loved ones no more. When I was a young girl, the world did seem gay, but these cruel hard times do drive comfort away, and the leaves in the woodland, and the gulls by the shore cry, you never shall walk with your sweetheart no more. You never shall walk with your sweetheart no more. Once I gathered wildflowers in the sweet countryside, but my garlands have withered, my posies have died, and the leaves in the woodland, and the gulls by the shore cry, you never shall lie with your husband no more. You never shall lie with your husband no more. Once I but now my love's gone. Once I was a mother, but now I'm alone, and the leaves in the woodland and the gulls by the shore cry, you never shall dance with your menfolk no more. You never shall dance with your menfolk no more. So come all you young women, let's free from all care. Don't you ever get married, all sorrow lies there, and the leaves in the woodland and the gulls by the shore cry. The heart that is given no man may restore. The heart that is given no man may restore. Now the fields are all empty, the hedgerow lies bare, only wild desolation is all I find there. I'll go down to the river to ease all my pain, and who knows but I might find my dear ones again. Who knows but I might find my dear ones again.
Oh yes.
Oh, must say before, I know we've not got much time, but it's so lovely living here in Norfolk, and there's so many people here at the folk clubs and people I know from the folk scene who just remember Peter so fondly and just talk about him still to this day. So many wonderful stories about him. Like turning up to see Walter Pardon wearing a caftan is probably my favourite.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gemma. Good to hear these stories. And that song did bear repeating, so thank you. Okay, Mary now, followed by Kate Portal.
Right, that was really beautiful, Gemma. A complete change of mood. This is a song about in praise of the summer. I wrote it myself. It's partly in English, partly in Irish. And the first verse is about the summer, the second about the sea, the third about the birds that we see in the summer. And there's a chorus which has a la words to it. So hopefully people might be able to pick it up a bit. Tom Creelas and Saura, Island Saura Macree, bloom of the lily and scent of the rose, walking the sands of the sea. Tom Creelas and Saura, Isles and Saura Macree, bloom of the lily and scent of the rose, light in the evening to see. La 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 la. La 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 la. Tom Creelan Farga, Islam Farga Macree, thundering breakers and gentlest waves, swimming way out in the sea. Tom Creelan Farga, Island Farga Macree, thundering breakers and gentlest waves, swimming way out in the sea. La 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 la. La 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 la. Tom Creelan ahead, Islen ahead Macree, crossing the heavens and skimming the streams, riding the waves of the sea. Tom Creelan ahead, Islen ahead Macree, crossing the heavens and skimming the streams, riding the waves of the sea. Gallid na hen na gettles to spare, light on their wings, light on their wings. Galle Macree, agus galle an green, brightness of feather and clearness of song. Tom Creelan Saura, Island Saura Macree, bloom of the lily and scent of the lime, light in the evening to see, walking the sands by the sea.
Thanks, Mary, and good to hear you again. Okay, so next we have Kate Portal, followed by Caroline Stupnitska. Kate, you're not unmuted yet. I think I've unmuted you.
Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are. Fire away.
Thank you so much. I'm not so good at it when I haven't got my technician with me. So anyway, I'm afraid I'm not going to sing a Peter Bellamy song. I've been really enjoying tonight. I also love Mary's song, and here goes a song I've sung a lot by Sandra Kerr. So the Bible according to Eve. The Lord, he planted out a garden east of Eden, so they say, and then from dust created Adam, saying, Ye Lord of all that you survey. He took a rib from Adam's right side, and then he closes up the flesh, saying, Adam, look upon the bright side. This is Eve to clear up all the mess, because it's boring. Hell of a boring. Eve won't mind, she's more inclined to do the choring. She will wash those apples in the lake, clear them fig leaves with a rake, and don't forget to feed the snake, because it's boring. Boring. The Lord he made one of his speeches, saying, Noah, go and build an ark. I'd like to kill all living creatures, but we'll save some for a national park. So put in one of every gender, and I'll save your sons and daughters' life. And something else, oh, I remember, you may as well throw in the wife, because it's boring. It is clenchingly boring when for 40 days and 40 nights the rain is pouring. But we'll find an use for Mrs. Noah. She'd like a part-time job, I'm sure, like clearing up the old manure, because it's boring. Boring. You've heard the story of Delilah and her very passionate affair, and how the history books revile her for cutting all of Samson's hair. Well, he was always at his fighting, or polishing his ass's jaw, or far too busy going smiting to concern himself with his coiffure, 'cause it's boring, hair-raisingly boring. But so Delilah took a ball and did the pompadouring. For hours she would cut and snip, while Samson had another kip. That's how the scissors came to slip, because it's boring. Boring. The Lord he called down from a mountain, look at me, I am a cloud of fire. Moses, I am tired of shouting, can you climb a little higher? They say he went all solitary to receive commandments from the Lord, but I bet he took a secretary to chisel down his every word, 'cause it's boring, nail-bitingly boring, typing decrees whilst on your knees adoring. Thou shalt have no other boss but me, thou shalt make us both a cup of tea, thou shalt not commit adultery. Now that is boring. Boring. Well, women's work was so confining in olden days, and that's the truth. You could turn your hand to concubining, or take a little gleaning job like Ruth. Egyptian, Israelite or Philistine, if something's wrong then you're at fault. Lot's wife got turned into a pillar, well I take that with a pinch of salt, 'cause it's boring, bum-numbingly boring. Oh dear, somebody here started snoring. Just one more thing, then we'll go away. We still get rotten jobs and rotten pay, 'cause the prophets never seem to say that it's boring. 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 Boring.
Oh,
Yeah.
But that was not at all boring, Kate, so thank you. Okay, now let's have Caroline, followed by Chris Lamb.
Okay, here's another Bellamy number from the Transports. I once lived in service to a lady so fine. I've served her by night and by day, oh. I've carried the dishes when the lady would dine, and after I cleared them away, oh. Dear me, how can it be the life of a servant is all slavery? I've made up her bed and I turned down her sheets, I ironed the dresses she wore, oh, I've peeled her potatoes, I've roasted her meats, and 'twas I with me broom swept her floor. Oh dear me, how can it be the life of a servant is all misery? I scrubbed her front doorstep, I polished her plate, I put coals in the pan for her bed. Oh, I've rose before sunlight to blacklead her gate, and at midnight I've laid down me head. Oh, dear me, how can it be the life of a sergeant is all drudgery? I've carried her water, I've answered her door, I've polished the shoes for her feet, oh, and when she went to church then her prayer book I bore, behind us she marched down the street. Oh dear me, how can it be the life of a servant's a penance to me? I met a young man in the village one day, as I ran to the shop for her bread. Oh, he's asked me my name, but I had to away, lest my mistress should break my poor head. Oh, dear me, how can it be the life of a servant has no liberty? So that night as I lay in my attic sober, I resolved that I would run away, oh, and offer to order the waggoners fair some silver spoons took for me pay. Oh dear me, how can it be the life of a servant is melancholy? Now I lie in prison, but I will not weep. Who knows what tomorrow may hold? Oh, there's some fine lads in here for my company to keep. There's strong arms to keep me from cold. Oh dear me, how can it be the life of a convict is all chivalry? Now I've known confinement for most of me years, small freedom did I ever care. No, some prisons sure they have no cold iron bars, but some prisons where they have no man. Oh dear me, how can it be the life of a convict a pleasure to me? Dear me, how can it be the life of a servant was never so free? Dear me, how can it be the life of a servant was never so free? Got a home.
And from harmony.
Yeah, very good.
Good on you, Caroline.
Yes, great to hear harmonies there. Okay, so Chris Lamb is our next singer, and big thank you to Chris for organising the Peter Bellamy tribute singers this evening. I think we've had some fantastic songs, so well done, Chris. Thank you for that. And after Chris, could we hear from Simon Prager, please?
Okay, this is another Kipling poem set to music by Peter Bellamy. The Land. There's one Latin phrase in it, Georgiae Quintae Anno Sexto, which means in the 6th year of the reign of George V. In other words, 1916, which was the year the poem was written, and it simply means in the present day. When Julius Fabricius, sub-prefect of the Weald, in the days of Diocletian owned our lower river field, he called to him Hobdenius, a Briton of the clay, saying, what about that river piece for laying into hay? And that aged Hobden answered, I remember as a lad, Me father told your father that she wanted reading bad, and the more that ye neglect her, the less you'll get her clean. Have it just as you're a mind to, but if I was you, I'd drain. So they drained it long and crossways in the lavish Roman style. Still we find among the river drift their flakes of ancient tile, and in droughty middle August, when the bones of meadows show, we can trace the lines they followed 1600 years ago. But Julius Fabricius died, as even prefects do. And after certain centuries, imperial Rome died too. Then did robbers enter Britain from across the northern main, and our lower river field was won by Ogier the Dane. Well could Ogier work his war boat, well could Ogier wield his brand. Much he knew of foaming waters, not so much of farming land. So he called to him a Hobden of the old unaltered blood, saying, what about that river bitch? She doesn't look no good. And that aged Hobden answered, "'Tain't for me to interfere, but I've known that bit of meadow now for 55 year. Have it just as you're a mind to, but I've proved it time on time. If you want to change her nature, you have got to give her lime." Ogier sent his wains to Lewis 20 hours solemn walk, and drew back great abundance of the cool grey healing chalk, and old Hobden spread it broadcast, never heeding what was in't, which is why in cleaning ditches now and then we find a flint. Ogier died, his sons grew English, Anglo-Saxon was their name, till out of Blossom's Normandy another pirate came, for Duke William conquered England and divided with his men, and our lower river field he gave to William of Warren. Now the brook, you know her habit, rose one rainy autumn night, and tore down sodden flitches of the bank to left and right. So said William to his bailiff as they rode their dripping rounds, "Hob, what about that river bit? The brook's got up no bounds." And that aged Hobden answered, "'Tain't my business to advise, but you might have known 'twould happen from the way the valley lies. If you can't hold back the water, you must try and save the sile. Have it just as you're a mind to, but if I was you, I'd spile." So they spiled along the watercourse with trunks of willow trees, and planks of elm behind them, and immortal oaken knees. And when the spates of autumn whirled the gravel beds away, we can see their faithful fragments, iron hard in iron clay. George I Quint I Anno Sexto, I who own the river field, am fortified with title deeds, attested, signed and sealed, guaranteeing me my assigns, my executors and heirs, all sorts of powers and profits which are neither mine nor theirs. I have rights of chase and warren as my dignity requires. I can fish, but Hobden tickles. I can shoot, but Hobden wires. I repair, but he reopens certain gaps which men allege have been used by every Hobden since a Hobden swapped a hedge. Shall I dog his morning progress, or the track betraying dew, demand his dinner basket into which my pheasant flew, confiscate his evening faggot under which my conies ran, and summons him to judgment? I would sooner summons Pan, for his dead are in the churchyard 30 generations laid. Their names were old in history when Doomsday Book was made, and the passion and the piety and prowess of his line have seeded, rooted, fruited in some lands the law calls mine. Not for any beast that burrows, not for any bird that flies, would I lose his large sound counsel, miss his keen amending eyes. He is bailiff, woodman, wheelwright, field surveyor, engineer, and if flagrantly a poacher, 'tain't for me to interfere. Hob, What about that river bit? I turned to him again, with Fabricius and Adieu and William of Warren. Headed just as you're mine to but, and here he takes command. For whoever pays the taxes, old Mus Hobden owns the land.
Oh, well sung, Chris.
Well done.
Good report.
Amazing.
Well landed.
Terrific, Chris.
Yeah, well done, Chris. Yeah, great stuff. Okay, folks, we only have another 3 singers that we can fit in this evening. I'm sorry to everyone who I couldn't squeeze on, but as you'll appreciate, we've had loads and loads of people here wanting to sing. So please come back and sing another time. Our next and last singers of the evening are going to be Simon Prager, Chris Ego and Heather Wood to finish us off for the night. So Simon, it's over to you.
Thank you, Amanda. I'm very happy to give way if anybody who's got a Bellamy song has been left out.
No, we've made sure everybody who's told us they have a Bellamy song is still on.
This is a Lead Belly song. I don't know what Pete would have thought of it, but I remember having a long conversation with him once about Ray Charles, so he might have liked it. It's called Ella Speed, and it's one of the happiest tunes I know, with sadly the lyrics are about a poor girl who was murdered by a barman. Come on and take heed concerning the death of LSB. Come on and take heed concerning the death of LSB. LSB was down there having a loving fun. Come and see what Bill Martin done. LSB was down there having a loving fun. See what Bill Martin done. Bill Martin, he was tall and slender, well known for being a bartender. Bill Martin, he was tall and slender, well known for being a bartender. Come on and take heed concerning the death of LSB. And take heed concerning the death of LSB. The deed, Bill Martin, that you done was to kill Porella with a Colt 41. The deed, Bill Martin, that you done was to kill Porella with a Colt 41. Come on and take heed concerning the death of LSB. Come on and take heed concerning the death of LSB. Take heed concerning the death of LSB. Come on and take heed concerning the death of LSB.
Hurrah!
Ooh, we wouldn't want to miss that, Simon. Okay, so just 2 singers left. If you have not put the name of your song in the chat already, then please do that, everyone who's sung. And it is over to Chris Eagle, followed by Heather Wood. So, Chris, over to you.
Yeah, another Bellamy number for me. Another from Oak Ash Thorn with Rudyard Kipling. This one, well, it's been quite topical for the last year and a half. It's about us all dying in a plague, and with any luck, it will stop being topical sometime in our lifetimes. But we'll see. Excellent herbs had our fathers of old, excellent herbs to ease their pain, Alexanders and marigold, aye, bright orris and elecampane. Basil, rocket, valerian, rue, almost singing themselves they run. Vervain, dittany, call me to you, cowslip, melilot, rose of the sun. Anything green that grew out of the mould was an excellent herb to our fathers of old. Oh, wonderful tales had our fathers of old, oh, wonderful tales of the herbs and the stars. The sun was lord of the marigold, basil and rocket belonged to Mars. Patters a sum in division it goes, every herb has a planet bespoke. Who but Venus should govern the rose, who but Jupiter own the oak? Simply engraved are the facts they are told in the wonderful books of our fathers of old. Oh, wonderful little when all is said, wonderful little our fathers knew, half their remedies cured you dead, most of their teaching was quite untrue. Look to the stars when a patient is ill, for that has nothing to do with disease. Bleed and blister as much as you will, blister and bleed him as oft as you please. Whence enormous and manifold errors were made by our fathers of old. Yet when the sickness was sore in the land, and neither planet nor herb assuaged, they took their lives in their lancet hands, and oh, what a wonderful war they waged. Yes, when the crosses were chalked on the doors, yes, when the terrible dead carts rolled, excellent heart had our fathers of old, excellent courage our fathers bore, none too learned yet nobly bold, into the fight went our fathers of old. Now if it be certain as Galen says, and sage Hippocrates holds as much, that those afflicted by doubts and dismays are mightily helped by a dead man's touch, then be good to us stars above, then be good to us herbs below. We are distracted by what we can prove, we are afflicted by what we know. Sow us, sow, down from your heaven or up from your mould, send us the hearts of our fathers of old.
Thank you, Chris, with a little help from Caroline. So we are about to finish the evening, and before I hand over to Heather, I just want to say a big thank you, as always, to everybody who has been with us this evening, to Livy on the mute button, to David for collecting the details of the songs for the index, and a particular thank you tonight to Chris Lamb again for putting the list of Bellamy singers together. So big hand for Chris Lamb, actually. And over to you, Heather, to close the evening.
I'm not going to sing a Pete Bellamy song because all the ones that I know and sang with Pete on the first Kipling album, Oak, Ash and Thorn, have already been sung pretty well. Thank you. So this is the song that the Young Tradition always closed with, Biker Hill. If I had another penny, I would have another Jill. I would make the piper play the bonny lass of Biker Hill. Biker Hill and walk ashore, collier lads forevermore. Biker Hill and walk ashore, collier lads forevermore. When first I went down to the dirt, I had no cowl nor no pit shirt. Now I've gotten 2 or 3, Walker pits done well by me. Biker Hill and walk ashore, collier lads forevermore. Biker Hill and walk ashore, collier lads forevermore. The pitman and the keelman trim, they drink bumble made from gin. Then to dance they do begin to the tune of Elsie Marley. Biker Hill and walk ashore, collier lads forevermore. Biker Hill and walk ashore, collier lads forevermore. Geordie Charlton, he had a pig, he hit it with a shovel and it danced a jig. All the way to walk ashore to the tune of Elsie Marley. Biker Hill and walk ashore, collier lads forevermore. Biker Hill and walk ashore, collier lads forevermore. Thank you.
Oh, what?
Hey.
Yay!
Good work. Who wants to go out? Angel, back.
Fantastic ending, Heather. Thank you.
Totally.